Hi. Okay, so for social studies, I want you to continue working through that election book. And I'm going to attach a couple of copies of this one. It has different information about both of the election, the guys who are intending to be a part of the election, and who would be one of our votes. So just complete some of those, read this, and then just so you are aware of what's going on politically. And then also we were talking about political parties because there's two main political parties in our country right now. We have the Democrats and the Republicans. Democrats are actually a donkey, and it's kind of a funny story, but Democrats donkey, there was President Andrew Jackson, and he's from Tennessee. And I know this because we used to live in Tennessee, but he was very stubborn, and people would call him a stubborn donkey, because donkeys are stubborn. Sometimes they get to this place where they don't want to be moved or they don't want to help or whatever. And so they actually kept it because he thought it was hilarious. He thought somebody calling him a name was so funny. So Democrats continue to be donkeys. And then elephants was picked a little bit later, and it's because elephants are, they don't forget, is what they said. So because they don't forget the past, they don't forget the promises, they don't forget those things. Those are things that when talking about politics, those symbols, they initially kind of started as jokes, and then they have continued to be a part of the culture and a part of the political party, and now it's used as a recognized symbol. So Democrats, Republicans are the symbols. This was a 5-point activity. I was looking for mostly for coloring, and I was explaining why we have the donkey and the elephant as the political party. So look for a copy of these to read, as well as this, and then that will be your social studies, as well as completing that book. So on the back it says who won. So when we know who has won the election on, hopefully we'll know by Wednesday morning, but when we know who has won the election, you'll write on the back before you turn in that book. So don't bring that book back to me right away. Finish that up first before you're done. Talking about inside, it talks about facts about the presidents, about Vice President Biden and his family, and then it talks about President Trump and his family, and then it also has different like puzzles, and if I was president, this is what I want, and this is an important pet or something like that. So just go through and answer the questions and complete that book, and that will be part of your social studies for next week. That's what we're going to be doing in class. We're going to do that. We have your mail-in ballot, so we'll let you know who won here at school when we do that. Okay. And then for science this week is fun. We are continuing to learn about the solar system. I'm actually going to send you a YouTube video, so look for the link below here. The YouTube video talking about the solar system. And then we made this fun little foldable solar system. So I gave everybody one of these. And what we did was we colored each of these parts. So we've got, this is the word galaxy, this is asteroids, and then we have the sun, and then Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and we say, not Pluto, 8 planets revolve around the sun. I'll sing it for you again. Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, not Pluto, 8 planets revolve around the sun. Okay, so I'm going to have this thing. This is a piece of construction paper. I'm going to have it folded all up for you. What you're going to do is you have this piece of construction paper, and it's folded up. It was folded in half like this, right? I folded it into, I don't know, whatever these, into fours, and then I snipped, but I didn't snip all the way. I just snipped to make little flaps. And then now I have this little flappy book here that we're going to make. So you'll have to watch, you'll have to see when you get your hands on it, and you'll see where you want it to be cut. And then what I want you to do is I want you to put inside here, we have a galaxy, and then the sun is the center. So the sun's going to go right in the middle, and then you have your asteroid belt. And your asteroid belt is going to be around, it's going to be in between these rock planets and then the gas giants. And then Pluto is no longer considered a planet. It's considered a dwarf planet. And they call it a dwarf planet because what happened was initially they thought it was just a regular planet. It was just small. But what happened was when they were getting more advanced in their science and things like that, they discovered that Pluto actually crosses orbit with another planet. And in order to have planet status, according to the scientific definition, you have to have your own orbit around the sun. So each one of the planets have to go around the sun and not cross over. And Pluto crosses Neptune's path, which is why I put it here. Pluto crosses into Neptune's orbit. So they call it now a dwarf planet. So we put it here behind Neptune because of that. So these planets are all rock planets. They all have rock made it. Mercury right here is actually the closest to the sun. And then we have Venus. And Venus is actually hotter than Mercury, even though Mercury is closer to the sun. But so Venus, the reason Venus is hotter is because it's covered in clouds. So what happens is the sun shines onto Venus and the clouds trap the heat in. So if you were to go near Venus, you would burn to a crisp because of that. And then for us, we're Earth. We're third from the sun, and we have ideal conditions for life. And then the next one is Mars. And Mars is the red planet because at some point there had been water on Mars. And have you ever left something metal outside and noticed like that red oxidation onto something and it's got that red stuff? That's called rust. So Mars actually has rust all over the surface of it. So that's why it's the red planet. So you have Mars, and then on the other side you have the gas giants. So Mars, and then the asteroid belt is between. Here's your asteroid belt. Here we go. The asteroid belt is going to be between the rocks and the gas giants. Now these ones are made of gases, and that's why they're so large, because the gravity is holding them in. But if you were to go and walk on one of these planets, not that you could, but if you were going to try and walk on one of these planets, you would just fall right through because there's no solid ground. They're not solid. They're gases swirling around. This one's Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet, and it actually has, you see this little spot right here? It has a hurricane that's going around and around and around, and it's pretty cool. So a hurricane on Jupiter. And then you have Saturn, and Saturn has these really big rings around it. It's a lot of ice and moon rocks and things like that are in this rings, and they spin around the orbit of the planet. Then there's Uranus, and Uranus is really far away, and it's like a teal color that they see. And it's actually tilted on its side a little bit, which is why the rings are kind of like that. It's actually even a little bit more now. They've learned more since this drawing was done. But Uranus is tilted on its side, and so it's rotating more like this, where we're rotating more like this. And then Neptune is the furthest one out. It's kind of blue, and they think it might have some kind of type of gas in it that is turning it blue. And so they all have some really cool names. They're all named after mythological false gods from Roman and Greek mythology. So now we have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, here we go. And then Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and then Pluto. And then on the back, you can put your solar system, and then you'll put your name in pencil. And then on the inside, right in the center is the sun, because the sun's the center. A galaxy is what our area is all made of. And then the asteroid belt is between the rock giants, or the rock planets, and the gas giants. So that's your science project. This project is going to be your big science grade for this next week, this unit. So I will have this here, and this here. So that is your plan for science. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will talk to you soon.